Let me see. Are we back showing parenting in a digital world?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So typical questions that I get from parents, and about 3 slides of typical questions that hopefully by the end of this slideshow, it'll answer all these questions. But how do you as a parent protect your child from online predators, cyberbullying, sexting? When should you allow your child to have a smartphone, social networks such as Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter? How do you talk to your child about something that you know little about? What is an app? How do I know what apps my child uses? How do I know what my child is doing online? What is safe to share online? What should I do if I suspect someone is trying to harm my child? So what we want to start doing is teach children at an early age, and we're starting to see children around the age of 9 is about when they start getting contacted by predators or start expressing an interest in social media with their friends. So beginning at an early age, teach them to take ownership of their online activities, such as avoiding the use of anonymous systems to spread negative messages. Teach your child that positive actions can produce positive results and positive online messages can influence others. Also, teaching your child to decide how they will behave and act online long before they are pressured by others to act inappropriately. This next slide is a video from Trend Micro's 2011 What Your Story Technology Safety Contest Is. The video, titled "Where Are You?" was made by high school students and speaks a strong message to youth because it comes from their peer group. The video's message is about establishing where you are as an individual, and as you'll see in the video, the person tells them where he stands. The effective aspect of the video is that kids understand where they are, and it doesn't tell them which side of the line to stand.
This is a line, and this line is mine. You will kindly find my feet and my spine are perfectly aligned. You'll also find that on either side is a plus and a minus sign. Right now I'm on this line, minus this. Now I'm online. This is a line, and this line is mine. You will kindly find my feet and spine are on the plus sign. Now I like to assign and also define what one might find on this side of the line. I will not pretend that there are no consequences of saying something offensive online, no matter what my ignorant friend says. Because words are all I have, and yeah, I know it's sad. We hide behind bad. So there's respect to my status, whether through Mark Zuckerberg or Tom, and I'll treat you the same in person, and yeah, I'll accept your friend request, Mom. This is a line, and this line is mine. You will kindly find my feet and my spine are on the minus sign. Now I'd like to assign and also define what one might find on this side of the line. Now I might seem unassuming, but if you only knew what I was doing, brewing, spewing, spitting venom when I'm at that screen, I ruin. Reputations I will splatter. Typing faster, I get madder. All the insults I will gather. You're so lucky, it's only sadder. Day. You have one day. Oh yes, Sunday, for my words to die away. And on that one day, oh, I must say, you're gonna wish you had a different name. But then it's Monday, and at school, I'll remind them all of what I said. Then it's Tuesday, then it's Wednesday, then we'll all find out you're dead. This is a line, and this line is mine. And now that I've assigned what one might find on either side, you will kindly find that my feet and my spine are on the plus sign. And I'm not moving. Where are you?
So that was an interesting little video just to kind of, get the kids to understand, how to be responsible on the internet. We want to teach our children to protect themselves online by protecting their name. This will be on everything they do for the rest of their lives. It is on every paper and test that they take in school, and their college application, their job applications. Kids don't seem to really grasp that what they put online and what they share online is there forever. Their identity, this is their online persona, how they portray themselves in their social networking sites that they're on, what they say, how they treat others, and the pictures they post. All these create an online identity that is also being captured and saved by online search engines. And even potential employers nowadays are able to, pull up people's social media and look at the pictures that they're posting, and it can affect their potential to get a job, their reputation. Their individual persona creates this reputation for others to determine their opinion of them as an individual. Our online persona is often just a snippet of who we really are, but others are making reputational decisions about us based upon those snippets that we provide. This could be either positive or negative, and many youth are very successful in utilizing social media to create a positive perspective. These are some tips for talking with your child about online strangers. We taught children about stranger danger. That method has been found to be ineffective for a couple of reasons. One, the greatest majority, about 90% of child sexual abuse is perpetrated by someone the child knows. This abuser could be a family member, relative, family friend, coach, or some other trusted adult the child knows. A child may also need to ask for help from a stranger if they are lost or in a dangerous or uncomfortable situation, and we don't want to teach them that all strangers are dangerous. Also, very many youth talk with people they don't know online, and many also have people listed as friends that they don't know in person. Parents should focus on teaching their children about risky and inappropriate behaviors by people they don't know, as well as people they do know. These risky behaviors may involve sexual conversations or inappropriate websites or applications. This could also involve someone asking for too much personal information or directing your child to be very secretive about their conversations or other actions. These are some of the popular applications kids are using. Now, obviously, you're not going to see Facebook and Instagram. We already know about those, and Twitter. But these are common that we have seen in investigations that we've conducted and that are popular among children. These applications change frequently, and popularity and age determine which application children begin to start using. And if you even notice that, I have games on there such as Fortnite and Minecraft, a lot of these games have the ability for children or the players to talk to one another, and this is an avenue for some of these predators to contact our children. Many parents ask about how they can find out what their child is doing online and on their phones. So I think one of the things we need to do is start with the question, should parents use monitoring software to see what their child is doing online or on their phone? And this is a question that each parent must answer for themselves. But keep in mind that unless your child has given you a reason to believe they're acting appropriate, it may be counterproductive to spy on them. If they find out that you're monitoring everything they do online or on their phone, they may look for ways to hide their actions and become secretive and sneaky just because you exhibited a lack of trust in them. Regular conversations about their activities, along with showing what they do, as well as repeated lessons on parental expectations, is much better way to address these issues with a child that has not given you previous cause for concern. And predators are going to use this as an opening to reach out to our children. You know, if our child doesn't feel like they can trust us, they're going to um, rely and trust people that they consider their friends. Parents ask about apps and their use. There are over 1 million apps, and new ones become available every day. Some have been used for less appropriate activities, and parents should question their child as to what each of their apps are and what they're used for. Also, some phone monitoring software is easily bypassed by some apps. And parents who believe they can see everything their child does on their phones are misinformed. And some of our children will even go as far as to download the app, use it, and then delete it in order to hide it from their parents. Another question concerns the use of GPS to see where your child is at all times. Once again, this is an individual parenting decision, and it must be made with full understanding of the impact on communication and sharing of information between parent and child. Parents should set boundaries and expectations for their children's use of technology. Much like when your child goes out on a Saturday night, you would ask, where are you going and who are you going with? What time you'll be home? You should be asking very similar questions. Where are you going online? Who are you talking with online? And how long are you going to be online? When you set boundaries, these should include who your child can communicate with, what technology they are allowed to use, where your child can go online, including websites and applications, when your child can use technology. This includes at school, at bedtime, and be sure you and your child know their school's use of technology policy. And, you know, today, especially even, you know, with the onset of COVID, our kids are using technology more and more in the schools, and the schools are relying heavily on technology over textbooks. Many parents are unsure as to when they should get their child a mobile phone or when they can have social media such as Facebook. The decision should be based upon each individual child. You know your child better than anybody else. You know their level of maturity. You know their ability to follow rules and expectations. Is the phone a basic phone or a smartphone? If it is a smartphone, what capabilities will you allow your child to have? Remember, it is a handheld device with all the capabilities and more of a home computer. What parental controls will you include on the phone? And there are some programs and applications out there that will allow you to limit and or monitor what your children are doing online or with their phone. For the question about social media, it is important to note that the Child Online Privacy Protection Act, a federal law, prohibits gathering information from youth younger than 13 because of COPPA. Most social media sites, including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, have a policy that prohibits those under 13 from having an account. Many sites, such as Facebook, also have different levels of privacy controls based upon those age 13 through 17, and for those who are 18 and over. As an example, if your child falsely obtains a Facebook account at age 8 by claiming to be 13, when they actually do turn 13, they will automatically receive the privacy settings designed for those over 18 because Facebook believes that's their age. Once again, you must decide if your child is mature enough to handle the responsibilities and consequences of social media, along with their ability to follow rules and expectations. And even LinkedIn has recently opened up their application to 13-year-olds. Teaching your child about privacy is just as important as teaching them about online predators or cyberbullying. Begin at a very young age to teach your child that the nature of the internet is to share information, and it can be difficult to keep online information completely private. Teach your child about personal information and what types of information they should never share, such as date of birth or social security number. What information they should be careful with whom they share, such as home address, phone number, or school. And it is not uncommon for us to see children sharing photographs of their school ID to complete strangers. Teach your child to protect their passwords. Only share a password with a parent, never with a friend. Remember the message about name, identity, and reputation. Each of these are all related to being able to protect your password. and these are far too important to take a chance that somebody else could control. Teach your children to utilize privacy settings for websites and apps. Typically, privacy settings are set to allow many things to be shared, including location information through GPS on mobile phones. Take time to learn privacy settings. Learn about and share with your child what can be private and what is never private on social media. Keep in mind that on social media, private really means limited access, because you can never make something completely private. It is always shared with someone who can then share, copy, or forward your posting or photo. All profile images on social networking sites are always public, and users can never make them private. Cyberbullying is increasing, and a lot of people wonder what cyberbullying even is, and it's the use of technology to threaten or harass another. Typical cyberbullying happens between people that know each other and are often between classmates. Understand that bullying has a stereotype of being perpetrated on the weak or different type of person, and applying cyberbullying would mean the victim is weak or different. Because youth don't want to be in that category, they call the abuse drama. Drama can also be relational aggression between youth who are or were friends. Also, drama can be between those who are in a dating relationship, and dating becomes violent. Because cyberbullying involves technology, typically the messages or images are hard to completely delete. Many people see and can share the harassment, and in some cases can be more harmful or disturbing than face-to-face bullying, simply because of the level of permanence. Anti-bullying laws in Texas, after SB 179, which is also referred to as David's Law. In the past, schools had limited authority to regulate or conduct off-campus or conduct that was occurring off-campus or in vehicles not operated by the district. However, now, in addition to conduct that happens on school property or school-related activities, schools must also address cyberbullying that is delivered to school property or site of a school-related activity, occurs on a publicly or privately owned school bus or vehicle being used to transport students to and from school or school-related activity, or occurs off school property or outside of school-related events and interferes with the student's educational opportunities or substantially disrupts operations of a school, classroom, or school-related activity. And that's covered under the Texas Education Code. And this includes when you're taking your son or daughter to school in the morning. If they're cyberbullying someone in your vehicle, the school still has a responsibility to investigate that. The law requires schools to notify the parent of an alleged victim of bullying within 3 business days of a report and not the completion of the investigation. One of the most important tools added by David's Law is the ability of a minor who is cyberbullied or the minor's parent to seek injunctive relief against either the perpetrator of the cyberbullying, or if the perpetrator is a minor, against the perpetrator's parent. And basically, an injunction is similar to a protective order on a civil level. Trauma-inspired abuse is the issue of relational aggression that we discussed on the previous slide. Kids and teens want to belong. They have social needs, and they desperately want to fulfill acceptance and belonging. The drama-inspired abuse can often involve social exclusion, and teens use this as a weapon because it is so powerful. The need to be accepted is more satisfying than doing what the teen knows is the right thing to do. This is an important education and an important educational point of discussion with youth. It includes ostracism and social exclusion. And again, like I said, being accepted is more satisfying than doing the right thing. We have to talk about the use of technology within dating relationships. There have been some who spy on their boyfriend or girlfriend by pressuring to get passwords or reading text messages. 25% of youth say their boyfriend or girlfriend have taken their phones and checked text messages without permission. There's also an issue with constant texting, known as textual harassment. This involves checking to see who they are with and who they are or where they are as a controlling mechanism. Also, the use of pressure and coercion to get naked images, which is called sexting. Consider setting rules in place where all devices are turned in at night. Our children need a break from the constant access that mobile devices provide. They need to let their brains and bodies rest before the next school day. Allowing them to keep their devices at night just really does not give them the opportunity to get a break from the gossip, the bullying, or their boyfriend or girlfriends. And, you know, when I was younger and when a lot of us were younger, we didn't have that. When school was over, we were able to go home and get a break from, you know, the constant pressure and the bullying. Our children don't have that option anymore. The use of paper crumpled up and then straightened out is a method of showing the scars are still there, even though it has stopped and even though someone said they were sorry. There's anxiety and anger and sometimes depression. The issue of cyberbullying causes suicide, or the issue of cyberbullying causing suicide is controversial, but it is a contributing factor in some youth suicides. There's also the issue of, if we talk about it too much, are we glorifying it and making it more appealing to the youth at risk? The educational issue must be addressed. You can't learn if you're worried about being harassed. Kids are getting into physical fights with others, and sometimes it has led to severe injury. There are legal issues that must be discussed, and these range from criminal harassment to civil liability issues. For a variety of reasons, many kids don't tell adults when they are being harassed online. This can be that no one believed the harassing person would do that. Teachers saw the harassment and said nothing or did nothing. A teacher or parent just said to ignore it, forgetting the 24/7 nature of technology. Many are afraid to tell because it can make things worse. They are afraid that the offender will get in trouble and make things worse by them retaliating. And kids don't want to be thought of as a snitch. Parents must do what they can to protect their child, but instead of handling it for them, often the situation can be addressed by helping your child deal with it themselves. This method does a couple of things. It's a lesson for our children on how to handle things themselves and become more independent. It may help avoid escalating the issue, and your child will have more of a feeling of control if they are dealing with the issue instead of us taking care of it for them. The hardest thing as a parent is to understand that, I'm sorry, this goes with the last information. So the hardest thing as a parent is to understand that sexting is part of a normal dating ritual. The first time I heard that, I was not pleased to hear that, being the parent of 3 daughters. But after thinking about it, it really is a part of their dating rituals nowadays. Sexting involves sending sexually explicit images or videos to another, typically from one phone to another, using the messages of the "where are you" video. The time to decide when to send an image is now, long before you're pressured to do something. Our children need to ask themselves, was this my idea, or is someone trying to talk me into doing something that I didn't want to do? Where will my image end up? Who else will have access to it? Would I want this forwarded to others? Once you post something online, everyone who has access to the material can forward it to others. Can I get this back? The simple answer is no. Once you post it, you don't own it or control it any longer. If someone sends you something inappropriate, ask yourself, Why would someone send this to me? Was it out of anger or showing off? The most important message is to focus on the time to decide if you will ever send an explicit image or video is long before you are asked and feeling any pressure. And a lot of our children now will tell you that, hey, I get notified if somebody screenshots my picture. But what they don't understand is some people have multiple devices. They may have a phone and an iPad, and they're taking the picture with another device, and you never get notified if that happens. Many youth report reasons for sending a sexting message as the following. Pressure from another person, could be a boyfriend, girlfriend, or also as a form of flirting with a prospective boyfriend or girlfriend. A need for attention and affection. Some people who are sending are risk takers and like the rush of doing something risky. It could involve dating violence where one party pressures or forces another to send the image. Sending an image could involve cyberbullying or digital abuse. This could be a situation where someone is talked into sending the image with the purpose of sending it to many others to harass the sender. Some cases of sexting involve one party deceiving another into sending the image. An example of this is Anthony Stansel, a high school student who created a fake female persona and enticed more than 30 boys in his class to send him explicit images and videos. He also used these images to blackmail 7 boys into having sex with him. And like I said, when I started talking about sexting, whether we agree with it or not, it is a normal part of the dating ritual for this generation. The issue of sexting often involves pressure from one person to another to send an explicit image. Many times youth are told what not to do, and send this instead allows youth to feel pressure to respond to the request, but in a humorous way. Send This Instead has a website called www.sendthisinstead.com and is also available as an app for both the iPhone and Android phones. And these are just a couple examples of what could be sent when someone feels pressure to send an inappropriate image. I can't send you nude photos, but I'll forward this to my dad and you can try asking him for some. Or, sorry, just in the middle of something, can I reject you later? Parents should break down barriers to the use of technology by their children. Pay attention to what they do, and don't be afraid to ask if they're texting with a friend. Ask who, and don't be afraid to say, let me say hi. Also use their skills to teach you how to do things with your own devices. The importance of parents speaking to children about use of technology should not be overlooked. Parents must communicate with their children in a two-way open conversation about the many online issues that confront youth. Parents must understand that the online world isn't a private location for kids to hang out. It is a communication tool, and parents should be using it to communicate with their children. Parents should be involved in their kids' online world by stepping into their world and then stepping back out. They need to learn what their children do online and how they communicate. For example, if your child has a friend come to your house to play for the day, the parent doesn't hang out and play with them all day. The parent greets the friend, checks on their activities at varying intervals to be sure that they're behaving, and says goodbye when the friend leaves. That is stepping in and out. They need to make sure their kids have time away from technology. Too much of a good thing is never a good idea, and technology is the same way. Having a phone with you as a preteen or a teenager should be considered a privilege, not a right of adolescence. Charge the phone in the parent's room or the kitchen during the night is a good way to get kids to disconnect for a good night's sleep. Parents, you can't be mad at your kid for getting a "what's up" message at 2 a.m. from someone. It's our responsibility to manage how technology affects their lives and control that type of issue. Think in terms of how your parents manage your phone time, including how late someone could call your home and talk with you, and apply the same principle to today's technology. And I know with my own kids that, at nighttime when it's time for bed, all their devices get turned in, they're put on the kitchen counter to charge. A great way to explain to parents about how to deal with internet safety is think about teaching your child to drive. First, you start with teaching your child how to make the car go forward, backward, left and right, and stop. Second, you teach your child the rules of the road, what signs and lines on the roadway, what they mean. With the first and second parts, your child can get their driver's license, but that isn't the only thing that parents teach their children when they're teaching them to drive. They teach their children over many times in many ways their expectations of how a child should use a car, like not texting and driving, not talking on your cell phone. In this Family Online Safety Institute study from 2012 about the online generation gap, it asked both parents and teens the same question. For the first question is talk to child about risk benefits of being online and rules and expectations. Why would parents say at 93% that they talked with their child about online risk, yet teens only say 61%? It isn't that either are lying in the study. It has to do with perceptions and what is retained. Parents may have spoken to their child about internet safety and rules and expectations, but their child may not have heard what was said. We have to have this conversation many times, not just once. Many parents ask, what should I do if I suspect someone is trying to exploit my child? Always start with notify your local law enforcement agency. If they are unsure how to handle this type of incident, contact the ICAC task force for your jurisdiction. You can find your ICAC task force by going to www.icactaskforce.org and clicking on the contacts tab and then ICAC task force contacts. After notifying local law enforcement, contact the cyber tip line at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The cyber tip line will search for any similarities in the incident to be sure that all previously reported cases and information is included when sending to the ICAC of jurisdiction. Do not try to contact the person your child is talking to or sending pictures to. Do not delete the application. Do not delete any of the pictures or messages, and do not try to investigate this on your own. Do take away the device and any other electronic devices that they may have. Put the phone on airplane mode and shut it off. Do not turn the device back on. Do have their usernames and passwords to your child's electronic devices and social media applications. It is easy for predators to fool our children. They can pretend to be anyone, and it is very easy for them to make themselves look younger than what they really are. Predators will pretend to be male or female, and they will friend request one person and then start to friend request that person's friends. Then they can use that as their ploy to get your child to accept their friend requests. All of these pictures are of me and all taken within the last year. I did not use any fancy equipment or programs to do this, and these programs are easily downloaded from the Apple Store or Google Play. We are moving away from using the term child pornography and calling it what it is, child sexual assault material, or CSAM. CSAM is constantly being downloaded, shared, and traded on peer-to-peer networks. This slide documents the CSAM downloaded over a 7-day period in the Houston metro area. This slide is not a current representation, but was a snapshot within the months of October and November 2021. The Texas Department of Public Safety maintains a public record and map of registered sex offenders. Keep in mind when referencing the Texas DPS database, it is only the sex offenders that we already know about that are listed. There are many others that we don't know about. The following slides show resources to help address digital abuse. The ICAC Task Force website contains a tab that provides internet safety information. The blogs are updated often, as well as new videos are posted for use. You can also locate the ICAC Task Force for your area by clicking on the Contact Us tab. Common Sense Media is a quality place to obtain information for educators and parents on cyberbullying and most other technology-related media. ConnectSafely.org is a comprehensive site with safety tips and resources to help parents and youth to understand and safely navigate a variety of technology. Microsoft's security section of their website has many resources for use by presenters along with educators and parents. Included are presentation materials and internet safety tips. Now, if you have any small children, NetSmart for Kids is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and is a great free resource for children of all ages. This site has material for parents, elementary age, youth, and the next slide will cover teens and tweens and teens. There are many videos and educational games available on this site. There are also great resources for educators and law enforcement on many issues related to technology. NetSmart for Kids is also from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and is a great free resource for your tweens and teens. This site has material for parents, tweens, and teens. It also has videos and games and is a great resource for educators. This is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children website, and this is where you can go to make any cyber tips. I use this site as a reference for parents when I meet them, when I'm investigating internet crimes against children. The Silicon Valley Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force out of California is the hub of big tech, and they have the funding and technology to create a very informative website and resource such as this. And if you have any questions, this is one of the major ones that I will recommend for people to go take a look at. And this concludes my presentation. And this is my contact information to include my email address and my phone number. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and ask, anything. If you better to ask and get an answer than to wait and then it turn into something much larger. And Kristen, with that, I can't see any of the questions. So
okay, I'm seeing. Thank you for that. That was awesome. Scary, good info, and awesome, all the above. If anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and type in the chat bar for Detective Sean. I'm looking to see if any are coming through. While we wait, I just want to let you know that if you would like the same presentation in person, say you want it for your church group, your PTO at a school, we can also offer this presentation in person as well, not just here virtual on Zoom. So if you would like that, you could just give us a call at the township. Phone number 281-210-3800. Terry says, thank you for the information. All right.
And then also, if anyone would like me to come out and to give the same presentation, sometimes it's a little better because people can interact and ask questions as I go.
Sure.
I'm always available.
All right.